Are we on? Because it still says you're in practice session.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Good afternoon. This is the Board of Standards and Appeals Public Review Session for May 25th, 2021, 2 p.m. session. There is no public testimony during the review session. The first item up is a zoning calendar, continued hearings. Item number 30, 2020, 42BZ, 155 Girard Street, Brooklyn.
Okay. The project was revised to allow for adequate retention of the exterior walls on the perimeter of the new project. A note was added to drawing BSA 301 with respect to the rear yard, but it is incorrectly worded, and the wording needs to be, and it also needs to be on the relevant plans. It's only on sort of the note pages, or note page. It should appear on drawing BSA 201, 901, and 1401, and state the following. The validity of the zoning resolution section 73-622 special permit is conditioned on DOB's review and determination whether the existing rear yard extension is a legal non-complying condition. And then I have more comment on that sort of status, so it's a question to the architect. The rear elevation doesn't show any windows, although there are some shown in the plan, but I'm actually curious about a design decision that places closets at the rear wall on both floors when there might otherwise be a view of a garden. It's quite a strange design concept where the only windows are facing the side, and you have a garden, and I don't know why you would have bedrooms with no view to the garden, but you know, that's, I guess, the client and the architect's business. I'm still rather confused about the retention of joists at the first floor on only one half of the floor plate of the cellar and the first floor isn't changing. And I also wonder why rely on the rear yard extension, which is this questionable non-complying condition. Why rely on that rear yard extension for the 50% exterior wall retention when it appears that both sidewalls are being retained, or at least one of the sidewalls is being rebuilt in the same place? If you show those as being retained, both sides, or a majority of the second side, we wouldn't need this note on the drawing that could jeopardize a special permit. So I actually don't understand why do that. It's not, the building's not getting wider, it's getting longer. So, and it's getting taller and relying on the same sidewalls as exist. And yeah, so those were my comments. Vice Chair Shanda.
I have no additional comments on this.
Okay. Commissioner Otley Brown.
No additional comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Sheta.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Okay. And Commissioner Shabeta.
Thank you, Chair. No additional comments.
Okay.
New cases, item number 31, 2019-257BZ, 179 East 79th Street, Manhattan. Should I call the A case also, or leave it separate?
I guess you can call them together.
All right, item number 32, 2019-258A, 179 East 79th Street, Manhattan.
Okay.
One's a special permit, one's an MDL.
Right. We have proof of service of initial application to officials and notice of hearing to officials and neighbors. Actually, I don't have a note on what the community board recommended. We had a submission on this yesterday, and I don't know if anyone had a chance to review it. I could only look through it really carefully. It came in parts between 10:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. and is now loaded to SharePoint. But I don't know who who could fully review it. So some of my comments that follow may have been addressed, and so the applicant can say what was addressed and where. My comments are the lot area was inconsistent within the statement of facts and the drawings, so it needs to be coordinated. Floor areas for individual floors shown on the plans don't match the statement of facts. A building survey was actually provided yesterday that I saw. One of the reasons that I wanted it, in addition to that, we often ask for surveys, is I wanted to understand how the existing floor area was calculated, because the claim is that this little bit of an addition won't exceed the 10% that's allowed for the entire building. So it's not like you can add 10% to the existing condition. It's that you can't go over 10% of 10 FAR. So I don't know how they established the actual floor area on the site, and I'd like them to explain it. The drawings are actually not well coordinated. There are details that are not properly keyed to the plans. And then with respect to the MDL waiver, effectively, what's the proposal? Why is the proposal for a 7'6" ceiling height if the existing apartment has 9'2" and 8'8" ceilings? A letter submitting yesterday states that it's the existing condition, but I'm saying, you know, what's the reason for that reduced ceiling height? Has a probe of the ceiling been done? Is the level of the first floor lower at that portion? You know, so ductwork and pipes that are often in the ceiling of a cellar can be relocated most of the time, unless it's like the main, which also can be relocated, but it's a much bigger job. So this idea that you've got some pipes, I don't think is a good excuse for having a very low ceiling height that makes the quality of life, let's say, less desirable, sort of, or less quality. Section 1 on drawing 102 shows a level change that isn't shown on the plan. I don't know if that was corrected. I'd like to know what the current distance between the ceiling height and the curb level is, and what the relationship in the proposed what is the relationship in the proposed extension area between ceiling height and curb level. I think they may have provided that information, but I really didn't have a chance to scour. Also, what is the relationship of this apartment to the rear yard? I don't see any doors accessing it in the plans. And what is the egress route from that little apartment? How do you get out? Are those windows low enough to constitute one of the means of egress? Because normally there'd be a second means or a fire escape or something. How does that work? What is the height from floor to sill and rear yard to sill in the proposed section? And there are window heights and widths, I think, shown on the plans, and I just wanted to make sure they're wide enough to constitute the minimum requirement under the multiple dwelling law, and also to allow for egress through the windows. There's a rule about how high the sill of the window can be relative to grade and relative to the floor of the apartment. Where is also proof that the building was occupied as a tenement on April 18th, 1929, as required by MDL section 210. I didn't find the certificate of occupancy that was referred to in the statement of facts. It was number 14144, issued in 1928. So I don't.
I emailed that to you last week.
So that's the thing, is I don't have it or didn't see it, and I also don't see it in the SharePoint folder. Like, I don't see, unless it's, I don't see the certificate of occupancy that's the one they're referring to, right? So the only one they gave us before was from 1992. They referred to a CO that is from 1928. That's the one that would establish that it qualifies for this section that they're talking about of the multiple dwelling law. They provided a stack of iCards, but they didn't tell us on which iCard we should be looking. And the cover letter I looked at quickly did the same thing. It says, the iCards show XYZ, see iCards. There's a stack of iCards. Which iCard? So, if you really want us to follow along with the bouncing ball, make it clear. Otherwise, I'm turning pages in iCards and I can't find, excuse me, what you're referring to. The statement of facts is very sparse, or was, unless it was revised, as to the multiple dwelling law. It does not go through any of the criteria wherein a cellar apartment may be permitted. I thought it was quite lazily prepared. Section 216 states that such an apartment is possible if there is a section 300 paragraph 5 permit and it complies with section 34 paragraph 6, or complies with certain other conditions, and there's a list of those conditions. So the applicant needs to go through that list or those other sections and demonstrate these to the extent that they comply. That also goes for the Housing Maintenance Code, section 27-2085, which has its own set of conditions. They're not all the same as in the multiple dwelling law, interestingly. They need to provide photos of the current conditions, including the route from the elevator to the apartment and inside the apartment. I think that was submitted just now or yesterday. So we have that. And then I asked, will the apartment be renovated? And the answer in the recent letter was no. That needs to be made clear on the drawings, but and the photographs of the existing portion of the apartment show the apartment seems to be pretty nice, as compared to that horror that we went to look at on Central Park West. So this I think in sort of in character is a much different kind of application from that one, where at least the view is onto a garden. That's at the same grade, apparently, as the apartment. So from my perspective, I'm just really concerned about the ceiling height, not about whether there should be an apartment in the cellar, which has been there for a long time. They need to provide photos, we have a letter of no objection from fire department, who initially was concerned about the fireproof self-closing doors, or let's say lack thereof. That's pretty crazy to me that this building, which apparently has 59 apartments, doesn't have fireproof self-closing doors, which has been a law in existence for half a century, more than half, 3/4 of a century, something like that. So, kind of, I think fire department should actually inspect, but that's their call. So, and I just wanted to say that I'm very wary of cellar apartments, and this board has taken a very strict approach to them, in particular with that Central Park West case. So the applicant needs to demonstrate that the quality of life in this apartment, or let's say the extension of this apartment, will be desirable, not merely habitable. Because there are 59 units in the apartment building, and a superintendent with a family could live in one of them, which is quite typical. They often have the apartment on the first floor and they're being relegated to the cellar. So that cellar unit should be nice as opposed to just passable. And that's why I'm very interested in the ceiling height of the room and why it can't be increased. And those are my comments. Let me just see. Okay, so I've combined my comments with both cases. Okay, so Vice Chair Shanda.
Thank you. So with regards to the findings, the applicant, this case has to meet first with regards to the findings of 73-621 as to whether it's a pre-existing non-complying building prior to December 15, 1961. the I-cards that were submitted from 1929, 1935, they show that there was a one bedroom dwelling unit. There was one dwelling unit, I'm sorry, there was one dwelling unit in the cellar. So from 1929 and 1935 I-cards. So it meets that basic threshold. With regards to the enlargement and the change of use, if it would create any new non-compliance, since it's a pre-existing use, and the proposal is just to expand within the existing structure and not build out anything, it will not change it will not change the open space ratio or maximum lot coverage. And the recent FAR analysis that was shown, the existing FAR of the building is 10.25, and all the surrounding buildings, which are very similar in the construction period and type of the existing building, exceed the 10.25 FAR. They range up to 13 FAR and as low as 10.16. And some of the tenement walk-up apartment buildings are more in the range of 8 FARs and 3 FARs. So I think given the built context and it being on a wide street and the built form, which matches the taller apartment buildings, the minuscule increase of the floor area will not be out of context. With regards to the issues of housing maintenance codes and MDL, my questions are, so I have no issues with regards to the findings under 73-621. My questions are more with regards to the housing maintenance code and the MDL. And it's similar to the questions that you have raised, which is the height of the enlarged area, as to why the height of the area that is proposed to be legalized to be actually not legalized, to be to become the second
Extension. It's
right, to enlarge the 1 bedroom to a 2 bedroom. Why can't the ceiling be increased, and what is stopping that from happening? And also, what would be the required window opening? Because that is one of the other asks. And what would be the required window opening, and what is being proposed, and why it can't be increased? And these have not been clearly laid out in the documents. I think more emphasis has been put in the zoning special permit, but not so much on the housing maintenance codes and MDL. So those need to be cleared out in the statement of facts and the narratives more clearly. Those are my comments.
Okay. I think the window opening is just really badly worded. I think it has to do with the window opening onto a court of a minimum size, but they really didn't explain what's the minimum size, why doesn't it meet that? Because it's a multiple of width times length, and it looks like it actually meets the width times length. So I don't understand either.
It definitely was not clear from the submission, from what I read. So thank you for that explanation.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Commissioner Otley Brown.
I agree with the two of you that they don't discuss the hardship in raising the ceiling height to comply with the MDL and the housing maintenance code. And they don't talk about how the spirit and intent of the MDL will be upheld by what they're proposing. I think they're just relying on the fact that there already was an apartment here and we're just adding 1 bedroom and a bathroom. You know, how hard can, how difficult is this going to be, for the family? But they still should go through and discuss their proposal and try and actually convince us that this really isn't going to be a hardship for the family. I looked at the initial statement, and they had a mistake in the enlargement of the FAR versus the existing. So in one part, they said the existing FAR is 10.19 to be enlarged to 10.25, but on another page it said that the proposal will result in an FAR of 10.19, and so they just need to check that. That's all within the first 5 pages of the statement. I didn't check the newest statement to see if they corrected it though. So they could just answer me, but if not, they should correct it.
Right, okay, thank you. Okay, is that it? Thank you, okay. Commissioner Sheta.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have any further comments, but it's a clarification. I believe what Commissioner Brown indicated is on page 5, second paragraph, and this is the second sentence. I was confused by that, but yes, initially they stated that the proposed is 10.25 and the existing is 10.19. Then back on that page 5, the second paragraph, third sentence, it says, while the existing legal non-complying footprint of the building will remain the same, the increase of the floor area in the cellar would result in a total FAR of 10.19. It should be 10.25 if what they mentioned initially is accurate. So they should fix the statement here.
Okay.
And
thank you.
I'm not sure if they have submitted a revised one. I haven't seen a revised statement actually.
I think they submitted one, but I didn't have a chance to look at it, so
Okay.
thank you. Commissioner Shabeta.
Thank you, Chair. So one of the, I have many of the same comments. I think the one thing that wasn't mentioned is, you know, with regard to like window height, for me, this would be a much bigger issue if a family wasn't currently residing in it. And while I think that they need to really expound on the hardship about why the ceiling heights, etc. But since a family is currently residing in it, generally speaking, we want the window, we want to have it as much, I think it's like 4 feet before the window, so or something along those lines. We do that because of it's for quality of life. What they're coming here for is for it to help ameliorate the quality of life that this current super is living under. So for me, it's a bit more of a balancing test. While it's not like they're going to move out of this apartment if we don't grant the variant, they're just going to be living in a poorer condition than the condition that we can grant them. So like I said earlier, I want them to expound on their hardship so we can understand how much better this place, this apartment could be for them. But I am somewhat sympathetic to the application.
So I need clarity because that my impression wasn't that that a family is living here with kids. Instead, that they want to have a super with a family move in, and currently it's only a 1-bedroom apartment, so they want to create a 2-bedroom apartment to enable them to hire a super that has a family of 1 or 2 kids, right? So my impression is not that it's already occupied by the target family. Commissioner Sheta, did you have a different impression?
I thought the same.
No, that's not what I meant. I have something else to comment on.
Okay, just 1 second on this.
Sure.
So, and then with respect to, so the question has to do with the enlargement into a room that's clearly not occupied, because that room, the photographs they just sent us shows it as a storage room. So it's not connected.
I didn't see the photographs. I didn't see the photographs. I guess that's one of the recent, the yesterday.
Yes, that was just submitted, right?
And it does make sense that there isn't a family living there because they're asking to and like have a bathroom facility installed. But for some reason, I was under the impression that it was occupied. But if the photos show differently, or the applicant can enlighten us to it.
Right, but they already have. The apartment already has a bathroom.
Has a bedroom and a bathroom, and it
It's
appears to me that it's occupied.
Yeah, the photographs show, you know, it's a pretty nice little apartment, and it shows a bed and a living room set up, and I don't think there's a picture of the bathroom, but nonetheless, there's a kitchen. So it's clearly the 1-bedroom portion is occupied, and they're not proposing, in fact, to install another. Oh, they are proposing to install another bathroom that's en suite with that 2nd bedroom. So just to clarify, but that is not part of the apartment yet. That's the point. They can't get a permit because you're not allowed, their existing non-complying condition only when as to the size of the super's apartment right now.
Right.
And in order to get a permit from DOB, they need us. Okay, so just to clarify. Go ahead, Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to mention that I just checked the submission, and yes, I see another statement of facts submitted, and it did actually fix this kind of discrepancy on page 5. So
Okay.
it's correctly mentioning the floor area ratio of 10.25.
Okay, so 10.25 is the final, is what
Results,
they're
yes.
ultimately going for. Okay, was 10.25 for total. And I see Tracy Menke's hand up. Go ahead, Tracy.
Hi, we had requested a new type 2 checklist because the last one didn't explain why this is a type 2 application. They did submit a new checklist. However, they marked 2 categories, and we usually just choose the one that best represents the project. So I think they should revise the latest checklist to just reference the special permit 73-621.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, I think that's it. Oh, Vice Chair.
Commissioner Shampa.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, the existing FAR is less than 10.25, right? Existing FAR is 10.19.
That's what he's saying. He's saying the statement of facts was revised to show total when you're done of 10.25.
Right. Yeah, somehow I was looking through it and it has removed the reference to the existing floor FAR and floor area. No, actually, no. So I'm sorry. I just stand correct. I just see it. It's on the second page. All right. So that was my question.
It's very hard to do this on the fly like this, review a statement.
You know, your mind is used to a certain placement of certain things, and you're quickly, when you're scanning, you're looking for that. And I didn't see it in the same place where I saw it in the original statement of fact. So I'm like, it's not there. No, it's there.
So yeah, exactly. So there's someone who has his hand up who's in the waiting room. We're in a review session right now, and we don't take any public testimony or even members of the team testimony. When we're finished with the review session, which will be shortly, then we will switch to the public hearing, and members of the teams will be invited to speak on their applications, and then members of the public will be invited to speak after that. So please lower your hand until your case is called. Thank you. People are so responsive. It's really good. Thank you. Okay.
Move on.
Yep.
Item number 33, 2019-275 BZ, 122 West 27th Street, Manhattan. It's the PCE.
Yeah, and so legalization did opened in December of 2018. We have proof of service of initial application to officials and of notice of hearing to neighbors and officials. Community board waives its recommendation. We need, I didn't see DOI yet. I know it was requested, but I still didn't see it. I didn't see fire department. Did fire department get one on this? I didn't see that yet. I'd like to know what the ADA access to the cellar is. It looks like the one main building elevator opens into a storage room with steps to floor level. So that wouldn't be ADA access unless you provide a lift from the steps somehow. I don't know how. Other than the rubber flooring, there doesn't appear to be any sound attenuation measures at the walls or ceiling. And just to clarify, are the proposed hours 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday? So 7 days a week. And in terms of sound attenuation, this is in a commercial building. So those were my comments. Vice Chair Shanda?
Just to let you know, I'm sorry, I had my hand up, but excuse me,
Oh, I
Vice
didn't-
Chair.
Sorry.
Fire department did submit a letter. They have no objection. The premises are protected by a fire suppressant system.
Okay.
Standpipe and sprinklers been tested. And a fire alarm system has been proposed for this premises and an application's been filed. Based on the foregoing, the fire department has no objection to the reference application.
Okay. So, Jolene, can you check whether we have DOI, please? So, because we didn't before. Okay, Vice Chair Shanda?
Thank you. My comment was only with regards to, are there any violations outstanding on this?
Mhm.
Otherwise, I have no comments.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
I also would like to know about the access to the cellar for disabled people. Is it through a lift that we're not seeing on the plans, or is it through an elevator in the retail unit? Because it seems like that's the only elevator to the cellar, so I was curious.
Okay, yeah. Oh, it's a retail area. Okay, yeah. It's with, looks like it's a main building elevator that takes you into a storage room. That one, is that what you're talking about? Maybe. It's okay. We can talk about it with the applicant. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. I share the same comments regarding the hours. They mentioned 5 to 10, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. They didn't say whether this is like a weekdays or weekends included. So they need to clarify that. General accessibility wise, they haven't mentioned anything about ADA compliance, nothing when it comes to compliance with accessibility requirements. So they need to clarify that as well. Any noise complaints since they opened like since 2018, so this is easy, like 3 years now, or maybe 2.5. So they can update us on that. Also, because it's open, we need some interior photos. I haven't seen any if they submitted at all. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I thought there were photos. Were there photos? I don't know. I feel like
Maybe, and I haven't seen them.
Yeah, okay. And Commissioner Shabeta.
Nothing further from me, Chair. Thank you.
And Vice Chair Shanda has her hand up.
I
You're muted.
I forgot to ask the question. In the plans, it shows that the plan shows that there are 2 massage, the plan. There are 2 therapy rooms on the ground floor. So are these therapy rooms where massage therapists will be providing the massage therapy, or would it be a machine operated? That needs to be clarified. And if it's human, then license.
Right, okay.
And with regards to the interior photo, Commissioner Shetta, there is a folder, there's a set of photos that were submitted as part of sprinkler photos redacted.
Yep, just so it.
That one also shows the interior.
Mhm.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes. And when they say redacted, they're just covering the faces of the people working out. I was like, what are you redacting from the photos? It's just sort of like a Google Street View where they put a black shield over people's eyes so we can't identify them.
I have to say, when I saw those mummies kind of hanging, I freaked out a little bit.
Me too. Yeah. I have to admit I did the same. They're a little too realistic. Okay, thank you. All right, we can go on to the next one. I think we got everybody.
Okay, and item number 34, 2020-43 BZ, 982 39th Street, Brooklyn.
Okay, this is also a legalization. We have proof of service of initial application to officials and of notice of hearing to neighbors and officials. Community board waives its recommendation. We have one letter of objection citing traffic concerns, the uniqueness study, and you actually you have to kind of read that in two parts. There was one part submitted on December 2nd, 2019, and another submitted on May 21st, 2020, and then an addendum submitted on January 26, 2021. So when you read all of those together, it's very detailed, and I'm appreciating, even though I had to like jump around all over the many years. I'm always confused though on these kinds of arguments about unique physical conditions and so on, and hardship, about the focus on a loading dock in manufacturing districts and in these applications. Since office uses, if that's one of the potential uses, don't need loading docks, and many light manufacturing uses also don't need loading docks, and many buildings in manufacturing districts don't have loading docks. So I just find that whole root of argument really holds no weight at all. In fact, what you're really looking at is the floor plates, how you get to the upper floors, that kind of thing. Is there some kind of requirement for staircases? I mean, for instance, the circulation core under the new codes and so on, does it make it unused, rest of the space unusable, things like that. But the loading dock argument, I just think it shouldn't even be included. You know, you can in passing say a loading dock's not possible, but you can't rely and place the entire argument on a loading dock. The hardship complained of appears to be obsolescence for a conforming use, since the building was apparently built as a residence in the early 20th century. The uniqueness study shows few buildings of similar size and height being used for commercial purposes at the upper floors. The zoning district seems odd, frankly, given the quantity of these little residential buildings. However, the Sanborn data has a big gap from 1951 to 1970. So you actually don't see residential uses in the buildings immediately adjoining the subject site having been established in 1951. You don't find that in the data that's provided. And actually the Sanborn maps for the period prior to that time don't establish that any of those three buildings were built for residential use, since the designations are merely S for store, although the building typologies would indicate that it's actually kind of like residential above and kind of a workshop below, or a mom and pop or something below. I suspect that tax data or I-cards would have been more useful to determine the actual occupancies at the time. I was able to myself go on HPD's website and find an I-card for adjacent lot 67 that shows 2 apartments at the 2nd and 3rd floors in 1958. But there were no I-cards for the other buildings in this immediate adjacency. So then you would need to go to the tax records where, you know, the way they charge for the type of building it is would be revealed, right? The drawings show a viable and in fact existing commercial use at the ground floor, and for the as of right open office area above. I'm not sure that the uniqueness study looked at that combination as opposed to manufacturing uses, because that's really what they should have looked at. Where is this building used is another building in this area of similar proportions used in that way? Or maybe it did, in concluding only 4 properties meet all of the relevant criteria for a site of the subject size and massing. So, you know, maybe ultimately what you're saying is there are so few buildings that are of the same site and size and massing, and there's only 4. And so, and of those 4, none of them have commercial use on the 2nd floor, 2nd and 3rd floors. Most of the BSA's approval for approvals for small sites concern vacant sites under 25 feet wide, or assume a tear down of an existing no longer structurally sound building on a site of this size. So this particular site, which is even narrower, is relatively unusual in its proposal to retain the existing building, which obviously fits within neighborhood character for mass and use. So most of the time we see these as, here's a building on a tiny site, the building's in terrible shape, it's about to collapse, so our proposal is to tear it down and treat this as a vacant lot. So this is an unusual condition that I've seen of us looking at a building that they're proposing to retain and essentially arguing that it's obsolete. And then they did do deed searches that show no common ownership with adjoining properties since 1961. In terms of environmental, we have open hazmat, air quality, and noise. And DEP had already issued comments April 26th, so we're actually waiting for the applicant's turnaround. Okay, Vice Chair Shanda.
So looking through the various studies and report, my first question with regards to the as of right was, why is an elevator required in the as of right use, which would be office uses above, and that would be helpful as to why that is. Is it a market driven argument, or is it a requirement anywhere? I'm assuming it's a market driven argument, but they need to clarify that more so in their argument as to why an elevator would be needed in the as of right. With regards to uniqueness, I agree with you. The various reports that have been submitted, I thought were very helpful. And when you piece them together, I think the story is very telling. I further went and I looked through all the data that was submitted. So as the chart, especially the parcel 176 sites that are in the M12 district, and look through the data. And the way I parse out the data is how many lots are 1900 square feet or less, and how many of these have conforming uses. And of these 176 lots in the study area, 52% of the lots are less than or equal to 1900 square feet. And of these 93 lots, which is 52% of the lots, 2 are vacant. And only 11 lots have non-residential use. And of these 11 lots, 5 of these lots are combined with abutting lots. So of these 93 lots that have conforming use, 6 lots have non-residential uses. So it's
Wait. Stop. That's confusing. You said of the lots conforming uses, 6 are residential. That's not a conforming use.
No, so not 6 residential. Again, let me go back. So
yes.
Of the 93 lots that are less than equal to 1900 square feet, 6 lots have, there are 6 lots that are of non-residential uses, right? I just went, and of these 6 lots, only 3 of these have 2 to 3 story buildings. Rest are all ad grade 1-story buildings. So that's one big distinction, that most of the conforming uses are in even on the small lots are in 1-story buildings and less. Only 3 that are in 2-story and above buildings.
I'm sorry, you need to do it again. Of the 93 lots.
So of the 176. So let me go back. Of the 176 lots in the study area, 93 lots are less than equal to 1900 square feet.
Right.
And of these 93 small lots, 2 are vacant. Only 11 lots have non-residential use. And of these 11 lots.
Now you have to stop again, because all 93 lots are non-conforming. I mean, are
no. I just
conforming.
no. I started the equation with how many lots are 1900 square foot or less. Then I broke so of the 173, of the 176 lots, 93 of the lots are less than 1900 square foot, 1900 square foot or less. And of these 93, 2 are vacant and only 11 have non-residential use. So if you look at the small lot sizes, only 11 have non-residential use. And of these 11 lots that have, of these 11, 5 lots are combined with abutting lots.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you are left with 6 lots that are 1900 square foot or less that have conforming use or that are non-residential. And of these 6 lots, only 3 have buildings that are 2 and 3 stories. Rest are all ground floors. So I was just trying to look at it. What is the viability of this 2 to 3 story building as a conforming use? That's really what my exercise was. And that's why I was looking at the numbers in this way. Now, in terms of what is the lot size of the lots with non-conforming use, that's another way of looking at it, is of the total sites in the study area, nearly 96 lots have non-conforming use, that is residential use or residential use with ground floor commercial. And of these lots with non-conforming use, only 14% have lot widths greater than 20 feet. Overwhelming majority of the homes are 2 to 3 story buildings that are on small lots with lots widths of 20 feet or less. So this building typology is very common in this area with ground floor retail, with 2 to 3 story building, 2 to 3 story that are 2 to 3 stories with residential use on second and third floor and ground floor used for commercial purposes. So, and these were all built in the 1880s to 1930 period. So from my analysis, it definitely meets the uniqueness. I was just looking at it. What is the viability of this site being used as a conforming use? And the uniqueness studies shows that it really is not. And the financial analysis, I leave it to Commissioner Otley-Brown to confirm that. In terms of the neighborhood character, again, they're not proposing any extension, any enlargement, any tear down. It's just retaining the existing built form and converting and basically legalizing the second and the third floor as residential use, which is what is there in all of these sites except for two sites. So I don't have any comments other than mostly clearing up some of the data and firming up their statement of facts, and that's where I stand.
Okay, so clearing up the data, you'll give them instructions about what to clear up, because I have to say I didn't understand data.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Commissioner Otley-Brown?
I think actually this is a pretty modest project in that they're really not asking to demolish this, like you said, and rebuild a brand new building. They're not asking for extra floor area. They're not even asking to alter the footprint of the building. They really just want to make do with what they have and try and make it work. And for that, I'm like, yay, finally, somebody who's not so far reaching in what they think they can get. I just think that they need to beef up their narrative concerning uniqueness, because I found what I thought was a kind of incorrect statement when they talk about how an as-of-right commercial would need an elevator and stair core. Now, the person who's writing the statement states that that would reduce the usable floor plate by half. And it really doesn't reduce the usable floor plate by half. But when you go to the uniqueness study, they're much more clear in that what it does is it reduces the building frontage by half. And they talk about what that means for retail to not have that kind of visibility on the street. I fully understand that, but I think somehow it was lost in translation between the person who did the uniqueness study, who I thought was far better at explaining the issues, than the person who wrote the statement. So I think they need to coordinate better. I agree with you. I don't think the loading zone argument is particularly persuasive, but what I did find had the potential to be persuasive for me was the discussion about the historically being built for residential use, but they really don't go very far to explain why this is an issue. So instinctively, I know it means the floor probably can't take industrial floor loads, which limits their tenancy options, but they don't say that. And they need to say that. They need to say this was originally built for residential use, and so the floor probably can't take commercial or industrial floor loads, and expand on that. That I would find very persuasive. And to me, that leads into your conversation about the building being, and of course now my mind is drawing a blank. What was the word? Oh my goodness.
Big gap about the building typology. No.
Right. No longer being usable, basically.
Right. Obsolete is the word.
Obsolete. That's the word that, that slipped my mind.
We learned that from Commissioner Otley Brown, but never mind that she forgets what she.
Yes. So that's where I wanted to see the statement go in terms of uniqueness. I thought that the uniqueness study was really well done in terms of drilling down to the few properties that might be similar to this property, and they proved so few that I wasn't concerned that this was not the only property in the study, but it was one of 4. That was fine for me. So then I moved to the financials. And I have to say, I really didn't have any major questions about the financials that would turn around the result. So most of them are kind of minor things that I just say, like for the site value, sale number 3 should not be adjusted downward for zoning because it's an M1-1 sale with no residential opportunities like the subject and even less floor area. So it probably should be the same. As for the residential rent conversation, they talk about the subject properties having had significant renovations, but they don't detail what those renovations are, and they probably should, because that then ties in with the construction costs. And so my major question is that they state in the construction costs that the as of right costs are due to putting in an elevator lobby, and ADA bathrooms on each of the upper floors. And none of the costs are supposed to be going towards the ground floor, I guess, except for the extension of the elevator core through what doesn't have an elevator. Still in all, when you do the costs per square foot, it comes out to $122.51 for the hard costs. And if you add in the soft costs, it goes up to $165 a square foot. But the hard costs of having an elevator installed amounts to $20 a square foot for the elevator. So for me, I just want to ensure that the cost estimator is not including somehow, and I'm not catching it, any office conversion costs to convert it back to residential. So I would just want a statement that clarifies that all of the additional costs are really costs that are supportive of installing the elevator and building the core and all of that. Because being that this is a legalization and the as of right is commercial, I don't have to tell you that they should not be including any demo costs or any costs to restore it to commercial use, if as if we don't approve the proposed. Other than that, I'm fine with this case.
Okay. Commercial use. Thank you very much. All right, Commissioner Sheta.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with what's been said so far, and I agree with Commissioner Brown that this is a modest project. yeah, finally somebody's coming and not asking to knock down the building and build a 10-story building, and asking for a use waiver as well. That's good. It's working. The building is built in like early 1900s, and they said it was built as residential, but by the time the zoning resolution was adapted, the use back then was not residential. That's why they didn't like vest or get the legal non-conforming status back then. I would ask them to like submit any material, or if they have, in case we have any material to justify that, I would like them to submit it. I haven't, maybe they did, but I haven't seen it. But even if they did submit that, I would like them to mention it during the hearing. The second point is that the CO that they submitted, which is like backdating to 1965, I'm not sure if this is the most up-to-date CFO, or is there any like more current one? If the answer is yes, please submit this as well. Other than that, I'm fine with the project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You referred to a 1965 CO, the one that I have is a 92 CO. You got a 1960, you found a 1965 CO?
Actually, I looked at it, and it says, this is from the statement. It says, as shown on the attached CFO dated 1965. I can open it and get back to you.
So,
But
okay, yeah. Okay, but we don't have the attached certificate of occupancy that they're referring to, so that's
No,
part.
there is. It is, the CO was submitted as part of the original submission. It's actually dated 5/21/2020. It's was a certificate of occupancy from September 15th, 1965.
Sorry, when was it submitted?
Dated 5/21/2020, part of the original. It says certificate of occupancy.
I see. Okay, so
It's-
that one is the one from 65, no,
Yeah.
oh, from 1928. No.
No, 1960.
No,
Am I reading that stamp incorrectly?
so 5/19/2021, there's this is something that I wanted and Tony told me, no, they submitted it. It's the 1928
Oh,
certificate of occupancy. Oh, no, sorry, this is the wrong case. That's the other case. Sorry, that's 79th Street. Never mind. I don't know
You
why
got
I'm
it.
thinking that
Okay.
folder. I don't know.
I believe I have seen it, the one from 1965. I believe I did look at it, but
Yeah.
let me check.
Okay.
yeah, the CO number is 192706.
Okay, I'm just in the wrong folder.
It was part of the initial submission,
2020.
5/21/2020.
Okay, never mind. I'll find it while we,
It's right here, right here. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the one.
That's the one.
5, okay. So that's showing, can you scroll down? And it shows it as a commercial building, right? So that's the issue, is I didn't find anything that establishes the building was residential kind of at any time.
Initially. Yeah.
So maybe they're just feeling when you look at the building that that's how it was, what it was built for, but there doesn't seem to be any data to establish that this building was residential, whereas that I-card I described shows that in the 1950s, that building next door was residential. So, yeah. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, I think, did I not get everybody's comment?
Yeah,
No,
No,
no, I didn't.
Shabeta.
Shabeta.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
So I agree with the board. I think this is a modest ask. Most of my notes have been already repeated and wanted more evidence that this was originally residential. I was satisfied with the uniqueness. I do think that with regard to the hardship or obsolescence argument, they need to really bore that out with regard to like more of a an actual structural sense. I'm glad that they want to keep this this building, and they're not asking to go up a bunch of floors. The only thing I don't know if what wasn't mentioned, I'm not sure if it was mentioned, was I reviewed DEP comments, but I didn't see any response to them, and I asked that they respond to the comments.
So, no, so that's what I said. There were 426 DEP
Okay.
had comments, and so there hasn't probably, there may not have been time to get to respond. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, done?
Yeah.
Okay, so this concludes the public review session for May 25th, 2021. We'll now commence with the public hearing. So zoning calendar, continued hearing item number 30, 2020 42 BZ, 155 Gerard Street, Brooklyn.
Hi. I should have a Dimitro on the phone. He's the architect. Oh, I see him. I see him.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, we can swear. him.
So we doing?
Yep.
Okay, raise your right hands. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board, and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
I do.
Elise Boladair from Eric Palatnik PC on behalf of the applicant. I'm going to start with the easiest question first. You asked about windows in the rear. It was just a personal preference and a design decision between the owner and the client. They wanted windows on the sides and the front and not in the rear.
Okay, but there are actually some windows that are shown in the plan of the existing building that are not shown on the elevation.
We're closing them.
Oh. Wow, okay, it's not shown closed on the drawings, it's shown open.
Because they in the close their airway, they're below grade right now at the cellar.
No, I'm talking about above grade. Yeah. I'm talking about bedroom windows.
No, there was no bedroom windows.
Okay, hold on.
There was only one window on the back from the bathroom.
Hold on.
Can always share plans if that makes it easier.
Yeah, it's always easier.
Okay.
I'm looking at my own drawing.
155.
In cellar, there was two small airway
Okay.
and one in the bathroom.
So in the first floor, you have a window in the kitchen and a window in the dining room.
No shit. Plans. Did that work?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah, you still have it. You have a window in the kitchen, you have a window in the bathroom, both of which are shown still as windows.
Dimitro, is there a page I can open that works?
And you even have a window in the walk-in closet.
No, I showed that as blocked because the window blocked that with. Are you looking on B?
I see. No, it's, you know,
014 is proposed drawings.
no, I
Previous
know.
drawings are existing demolition. This is existing conditions.
Right. No.
This is demolition. This is proposed.
Right. No, I know how to look at the drawings. The thing was the PDF is very small and I couldn't see that those windows are being blocked because, you know, I have to zoom in on the PDF. Okay, now I see them as blocked. Okay.
Okay. And then the next question, well, I'm going to go to the last question because that might answer the first question about the note. You asked about maintaining the sidewalls. I guess I can unshare stuff. And the joists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
For the joist, it's easier. It's joist over cellar sitting on existing foundation. We remain them on the right side because that extension.
Wait. Elise, can you share the drawing again?
Oh, I can go again. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the right side because
Which
that
page?
was newer construction and they're better shape. That's why. No, you keep going down on the demolition drawings that show shaded area for the existing. Keep going for existing joists to remain. Keep going. Next page. This one. You see all this right side. I'm keeping this joist that's sitting on existing foundation wall, which remains. And because it's was extension to existing house, they're better shape and structurally is more sound. So on the left side, they have a different direction. So it's,
Oh,
I
see.
prefer remain on the right side,
Okay.
structurally and save money.
Okay, so then my next question is, as you know, we're concerned about the legality of that extension at the rear. So DOB is going to make the call about whether you can consider that a pre-existing legal non-compliant condition. And my question is, since the wall is staying in the same place, why aren't you instead relying on that for your maintaining of existing perimeter wall instead of that questionable rear yard addition?
Because I think I can prove it to the building department. And number two, if it's doesn't work for you, then I could remain right side of existing wall and show that back wall to be replaced or demolished.
Okay, so, but if you're not able to prove it to DOB, then you'll have to come back to BSA, and I'm not sure what the process will be for you to sort of swap out the existing perimeter from the rear to that side. So,
okay, then I will do it right now. I will just take a similar portion, which is about 22 and 27, 48 feet of wall on the right side. I will keep to remain.
okay, so that, you know, it's sort of your call, but it's a less complicated process. You don't need to make the DOB, and then there's no risk to the special permit if you do it like that. That's why I say it.
And then, so do we need the note that you stated in the
No,
first?
well, what we need is the note, we do need a note that says that DOB has to determine whether that addition is an existing non-compliant condition, because we're relying on it, but it's not, that won't have an effect on the viability of the special permit because the walls you're retaining are somewhere else.
So you still want the note on drawing 201, 901, and 1401 that the validity of the ZR section 73-622 special permit is conditioned on DOB's review and determination whether the rear yard extension is a legal non-compliant condition.
So I think that it could be phrased a little differently, be more to the effect of DOB to review and determine whether the existing rear yard extension is a legal non-compliant condition, and leave it like that. So it won't affect the validity of the special permit,
Okay.
right? But we don't know whether it's an established non-compliant condition.
Okay.
Because the Sanborn maps or those aerial photographs didn't establish it.
Okay.
Okay.
I think those were all the comments.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so let's go to the public.
Okay. The case we are currently discussing is 2020-42 BZ, 155 Girard Street, Brooklyn. The call-in number is 646-558-8656. The Zoom webinar ID number is 964-7409-0108. And the passcode, should you require it, is 530374. You're calling in. If you want to call in, it's *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. If you are in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand. Press 6 to unmute.
Okay. All right, so let's see, there are attendees in the waiting room, many. So one person called in. If you want to speak on this application only.
2020-42 BC, 155 Girard Street, Brooklyn.
Then please raise your Zoom hand, the person who called in, by dialing *9. Otherwise, anyone who's in the waiting room now who's on a Zoom call, please raise your Zoom hand. Okay, how much time to submit this modification?
I imagine not much. Demetra? Yeah. No, he
Well-
went like this, so I don't think he needs much time. So I think just the best date, if we could,
Let me ask him directly.
okay.
Can you get it to us by next Wednesday?
Sorry, I was on a mute.
Ah,
Yes, I could do it tonight, no problem.
nice. All right. So Ms. Fullader, we must have it by next Wednesday.
And say,
Okay.
Okay.
With a cover letter and an explanation about what changed, a bubbled set and a clean set, signed and sealed. Okay.
thank you.
I don't see anyone raising their hand. So we can close this then. So I'd like to make a motion to close.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Shepherd,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta. Commissioner Shabeta?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, new cases, item number 31, 2019-257BZ, and item number 32, 2019-258A. This is 179 East 79th Street, Manhattan.
So this is Fayan.
Bayan, yeah. Okay.
When someone has a car alarm going off.
For some reason, there's no option for video.
Oh,
Really? What happened?
We're making you a panelist.
Okay, there we go. Let me see.
is anyone with you?
Yes. Joseph Simpson should be with us. And then Mike Rosani, but I think he was already let in. Craig Lamb, perfect. And Mike is, Michael Sunrise joining or just you?
No, just me.
Okay, we have everyone.
Okay. Swear in. Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board, or to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the record and proceed.
Okay, good afternoon. Fayan Baton from Sheldon Loeb LPC for the applicant. We attended the review session and can respond to most of the comments at the hearing, and actually most we actually responded to already. I just know that there had been a submission over the weekend, so there are a few different submissions, and then we had one for the fire department. So we'll make sure everything is clear. So the first comment regarding the community board vote, we had the community board meeting, I believe last Wednesday. All but one voted in favor at the full board. Don't remember the exact number. I think it was 42-1, but it was all but one voted in favor. I have not received the recommendation for that yet.
Okay.
So now just to go through some of the comments, we did talk about the ones that we did address. The lot area is consistent now with the statement of facts. I updated that. I updated the architect updated the floor area for the floors. These were all in the submission from the weekend. The survey was provided. Mike, do you want to just talk about how you came up with the floor area?
We took the calculations based off of the survey for each of the floors and the setbacks, and we identified those on the various zoning sheets, Z101 to Z104, where we broke down each of the floors to come up with the floor area for the existing conditions of the building.
So I didn't have a chance to look carefully at the survey, but the survey provides you enough dimensional information to determine where the setbacks are?
Yes, we didn't make up these numbers. We took this from the survey at some point.
Okay, and so these are out-to-out dimensions, right?
Yes, yeah, it's
No.
all gross areas.
Okay, and no mechanical deductions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
And going along to that, just to clarify, the existing building is 10.19 FAR. We are proposing to go to 10.25. The existing zoning district permits 10. So with the 10% increase, I believe we're allowed to go up to 11, but we're only going up to 10.25.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Just going down the list. Mike, do you want to talk about the MDL waivers and the 7'6" ceiling heights and how you determined that you couldn't?
Yeah, so in regard, I know there's a lot of questions regarding the ceiling height, and this is an existing storage room adjacent to the existing super's apartment. And in this room, there's actually some steps down from the super's apartment elevation. And when you get down to that level, if you were to go to photograph drawing P-2, you can actually see the window in this storage room from the exterior, and you can see that it's not part of the main building. It is a one-story addition in the cellar. So the 7'6" ceiling height is actually, that ceiling height is actually the concrete slab of the roof. So it's not like it's a drop ceiling that we could easily raise up or remove some pipes or ductwork. It's the actual structural slab of the roof assembly, which is why we're kind of limited and we can't increase that ceiling height without either ripping the roof structure off or excavating the floor assembly.
So this isn't a one-story addition to the building?
Yeah, it's a weird little thing the way the building was constructed. If you look at P-2, you can see it where it kind of, you know, it's the bottom right-hand corner photograph is that window in question of that storage room.
P-2, which one?
The bottom right picture where it says rear yard garden.
Right, you see the
And-
still? Is that what you're talking about? Oh,
And
I see. And
You see how it's a one-story build out there in the cellar, and the rest of the building is set back and goes vertically from there. So that's a parapet above the window and then the roof structure. So that's, you know, that's why we can't easily increase the height of that room.
Madam Chair, I have a question. And now when I'm looking at the section, this is A102.00
Yes.
partial section.
Which section, B?
Partial section 1. A102.
Yeah.
In that, it shows the slab thickness of that one-story extension.
That's a drafting error that we can easily fix for the next submission and show that with the parapet height and the height of the slab to clarify that. It wasn't thought out that this was going to be an issue in terms of what's the makeup of that assembly, but I can easily correct that today.
So what you're saying is then if you measure that 7'6", that right above the 7'6" is a 1-foot slab?
Just about, yes.
And that beyond it's actually that height is the parapet beyond, is that?
Yes, correct. And we can get some additional photographs from that roof if you would like to see the parapet there.
Yes. But I'm kind of looking at,
Like
yeah, go ahead, Nat, Commissioner Shea.
isn't there like an apartment above that?
No.
No, not above this room.
So maybe we could do a share screen so we're all looking at the same thing. I'm sorry, I look at drawings on a different computer, so I can't share my screen.
I can do it if
Okay,
it's possible.
fine, yeah. Kurt can.
Let me just
allow you.
maximize my screen, and do I have permission?
Yes, you should.
Okay. Okay, so now you're seeing my screen, and where the mouse is the location of the storage room that we're looking to turn into a bedroom for this existing apartment.
Can you zoom into that? So then you can see that it's an addition, you see?
Basically, from the interior photographs, this is where the ceiling height is located here, and we have a structure. And from what I understand, the rest of this is a parapet, and the roof structure is beyond it.
See, Commissioner Shea?
What is, do we have like 2 slabs?
Well, I'll go back to the building and take some more photographs from this setback roof so we can see that condition.
Yeah, if you can provide us with a photo right behind, you see this AC unit,
Yes,
the window AC unit, like
Yes.
for that area, we want to see what is the relation between the top of this parapet and the like finished floor inside, in front of, outside that window, like right next to that AC condition, air
Oh,
conditioning. So
you're talking about the air conditioning unit that's above the.
oh, this one here.
Yeah, the second, that one.
Yeah, I'll go
Yeah, it
up there
sounds
with the
like-
tape measure and a photograph, and I'll take some pictures with the tape measure, so it's very clear.
Mhm.
it sounds like odd for me. I'm looking at the picture from like a very oblique angle, but it sounds like from the top of the parapet to the bottom of that AC unit, it sounds like, yeah, probably like it's 3 feet or so. If you go to all the way to the corner and count the bricks, it's, yeah, probably, yep. That's what I did. So I'm not sure if the top of, if the slab is here at the cursor location, that means that you have like probably 8 feet from the bottom of the window to the finished floor of that rooftop area. I can think of something like
Like I said, I'll get some more photographs this afternoon of the condition with the tape measure, so it's very clear.
Right.
okay.
But I'm kind of looking at it and I'm saying, yeah, and so nothing's preventing you from, say, putting a skylight in there or something like that, that would improve the quality of life for this person. Because now you're living in a 7'6" ceiling, which is pretty measly. So, I mean, to put it in another perspective, because superintendents always get a raw deal, because they're not viewed as actual people somehow. If you were designing this apartment for a client who was actually, you know, an individual apartment owning client, who you would try to do something to make this room much better. So what would you do? That's
We'll discuss that and see if there's anything that we can physically do within the confines of the structure.
right. So, you know, concrete, rebar, frame around it. Seems like there's things that you could do with this to make this a much more desirable space.
Understood.
Okay. Okay. There's a lot of background noise, so whoever has it, please mute themselves when they're not speaking. Okay, Ms. Baton, you want to go through?
Sure, I could go through them. Okay, the level change on section 1 is going to be updated. The current distance between the ceiling height and curb level, what's the relationship between the proposed extension area and curb level? I think those were updated on the sheet, right, Mike? Those were updated on the zoning codes.
That was updated. Do you want me to keep my share screen open or?
You can do that. Yeah, that's fine. It's helpful.
So here's the revised drawing sheet with the section. And so what we tried to outline is our sidewalk elevation here. And at the existing apartment, there's a 18-inch difference from the sidewalk to the top of the ceiling in the existing apartment. But when we get to this extension of this storage room converting to a bedroom, it's actually 1'11" below the sidewalk elevation.
Okay. And then the distance from the sill of the extension, the window in the extension room to the floor is what?
I looked at that right before, so here's the dimensions on that. So we have 3 feet from the floor to the windowsill in that extension. In the existing apartment, it's 2 feet and 2 feet 1.
Okay, so since we're talking about egress from rooms, I think 4 feet, 3 feet, I'm not sure if 3 feet is the allowable number. So there is a magic number, I just can't remember what it is.
What I was able to find in the MDL, 3 feet is what's permitted as a maximum for exits to a fire escape. It doesn't really
Right.
talk about exits to a court or a yard.
Right.
But I'm assuming that would be something, comparable.
What year did you start becoming?
Sorry,
Greg, can you mute?
Mr. Lamb, you have to mute yourself.
Is it possible that we can mute him? Oh, there he
There
is.
it is.
Yeah, there he's muted. Okay. I'm just looking at the level of yard quarter front. Okay, all right, go ahead. So yeah, so you should use whatever the minimum standard is for other kinds of egress for fire escapes and so on. That should be the minimum sill height to make sure that that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, and I looked that up. So I have that as 3 feet.
And if you could on your drawing, please refer to the section that indicates that that's the minimum height.
Yes, I'll add those sections of the MDL on.
Okay, that's great.
And Mike, while you have the plans up, I don't know if you want to show that stellar key plan. So this shows the egress route and the relationship of the apartment to the rear yard. So I don't know if you want to just show where the door is, right?
Yeah, so this is the entrance. Here we have the passenger elevator and the freight elevator. There's a corridor and there's an entrance to the super's apartment at this location. Right outside of the entrance of the super's apartment is the door to the laundry and bicycle storage room. And at the end of the hallway, there's a set of stairs that goes up to a door, which goes out to the rear yard.
Okay, so tenant, who has access to this rear yard?
The entire building.
So how do they go, the building?
They go through the laundry room.
Oh, okay. Less than elegant, okay.
And that we can see here, this is that laundry room. And this is the door that goes out to that rear yard. So you can see a lot of tenants keep their bicycles in this location. And
Yeah, okay.
so going back to the floor plan, from here, the way the building was constructed, the egress from the cellar is via an outdoor corridor, which goes up a set of stairs to the front of the building on 79th Street. And there's two sets of doors. There's a door here, and then there's a door at this location that brings you out to this outside corridor.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Is it possible to give us on A-101, there is a section, there is an identification for a section 3.3. I'm not sure if what is shown on the next page is really section 3.3, but I'm looking at it and I don't think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Section 3.3.
Yeah, you see it's taken like from right to left. Do you want me like show it to you?
Yes.
On 101,
Okay.
if you look at section identification 3.3, do you see that?
No, that's
Right
what
here.
I'm having a hard time
Yeah.
finding.
Yeah, you just,
It's
Here.
3, oh,
Yep.
it's 3.
Oh, this here.
1.
Okay.
yeah, 3, and it says you should look at this on 101.
Oh, yes,
This
I'll
is
correct that.
101
It should be
actually.
102.
If you go to 102, go to 102.
It should be 1-102. It should be 1.
Yes. Yeah, you see 3.3 is, no, this is not what we have. Hold on.
Yeah, this is the
Can you
current
stop your
revised
share
stuff, but
screen?
you are correct that the tag was incorrect. So that's,
Even the drawing we have is totally different from that one. If you're finished, just stop your share screen. I'm gonna show what we have,
yeah.
No,
and I'm gonna show you what I
We
mean.
need to update it to make sure it's all consistent.
Right, but so they already updated the set and we weren't able to review this update. So he's showing an updated set and we're looking at an old drawing.
Yeah.
Right, we had made a
Okay.
submission over the weekend and then another submission yesterday for fire department. So we'll make sure that in the next submission that everything is up to date.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, so it's just scouring through the drawings, even though you already submitted, scour through the drawings again to make sure all of the details and sections are properly coordinated and keyed to the plans, okay?
We'll make sure those are updated.
So on that section 3.3, if you can show us like a structural section, where is the slab? How many slabs you have for that area that you said the?
I'll get more information on that today when I go back to the building.
Thank you.
All right, so now the question regarding the proof of tenancy in April 1929. So
Sorry, can we, before we get out of this drawing, I was actually following what Commissioner Shetta was saying, and I'm comparing the section 3 to, and based on the latest submission that was submitted yesterday, and that section B, it doesn't seem to match because it shows a cellar to this stair to the cellar apartment entry, and where that section is taken, there isn't any stair there. It's cutting through 2 bedrooms and a bathroom and living room and the kitchen. And the section doesn't seem to indicate that. I think that's what Commissioner Shetta was referring to.
I'll clarify that. I was trying to make it, representative without having, 3 different drawings, but I can move this section line down to where it actually falls within the corridor.
Okay.
And the rest was, that's why I did that. So you could see the relationship of the stairs, the elevation of the floor, and the windows facing the rear yard. And it's hard to do that in one drawing. So I was trying to do something that made a little bit of sense, but I see it's a little bit more confusing than I intended.
Right. And
if it makes it easier for you and make it like less time consuming, you can make it like a broken section.
That's
like
what I'll do. I'll move the section line and plan so it's clear where it's being cut through.
Right. But the other question is, if the new bedroom is at a different elevation, the floor is at a different elevation from the main apartment, how are you making the transition? Is that a ramp or are there steps? I don't actually see from the living room, you have that hallway.
So we have the new steps shown here. We have new steps going down.
I didn't see that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
And that's why that's where these steps occur in that section in the hallway.
Okay.
So this is really a ghost behind the wall, so you can see with the window relationship.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I see.
all right, just move on to the occupancy back in 1929. So I could resend the 1928. I don't remember if it was actually submitted or not. The certificate of occupancy from 1928. The iCards, it was page 5, I think, of an 8-page PDF, noted that the premises consisted of 61 apartments, and then the back of the card was updated in October to include rental information, minimum and maximum rent for some of the units. So we could just make sure all of those are submitted and very clear for the board, showing that, there was a certificate of occupancy in 1928 and the iCard noted occupants in 1929.
Okay, so if you could, when you refer to an iCard, give it a particular iCard exhibit number or something, so we don't have to go looking through all the iCards to find what it is that seems to be answering your question or the statement.
I understand. I apologize for that. I'll make sure it's called out.
Even on a Word document, just cut and paste the iCard and, say, here's a picture of the iCard that shows what I'm saying right above it. That kind of. Okay.
We'll make sure it's clear for the next submission.
Okay.
Okay, so for the criteria for the seller apartment regarding the MDL sections and showing compliance, we'll make sure to do that within the statement of facts and the plans if necessary in the plans. We'll make sure that's very clear regarding compliance with all the other MDL sections that we're not seeking waivers for the seller apartment.
It should be also in the plan, so in the statement of facts and in the plans, okay?
That will be revised. All right, the photos were provided on those plan sets, and we'll have updated photos from Mike's site visit. The apartment won't be renovated. We show sorry, there's some noise. Show the demolition plans. Mike, do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
So we have basically the existing apartment. This is where we're making the connection. We're going to remove a portion of the wall to build this new corridor. The demising wall of the existing storage room is going to be removed. And then this is where the new construction will occur for the new bathroom, the corridor, and then the bedroom. The existing door that's sealed right now and steps down to that storage room is to be removed, and the wall will be infilled with new construction. So that's really the extent of the demolition.
Okay.
So if we go back to the construction plan, you can see this wall being infilled, the step is being infilled, and here's the new demising wall.
Mhm. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Just a question. What's the occupancy currently of this unit?
That's just what I was going to get to. So the super does live there with his child, and they share a room. So the super is living there, as you could see from the photographs. So this would be an extension. It would be the extension for his, I believe, his son or his child.
Okay. So how is that going? So you're going to maintain the demising walls and do the construction until you're ready to open to the adjoining rooms, right? So
Yeah, we would build the bathroom, we would build the corridor and everything in here, and then once this is all complete, we'll make the opening between the two spaces.
Okay. And you'll seal that opening that's currently.
And then this gets sealed up, correct?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we indicate over in this location.
right, okay. All right,
Great. I think that addressed most of the comments. Oh, I don't know if we can respond to the required window opening. Mike, were you able to look at that, or that would be in the submission?
To some extent, we do have, we do have the window sizes indicated and the window area in relation to the room. And we're showing that we comply just barely with the existing window for light and air compliance.
just barely. Why are we complying just barely?
It's the existing window.
So how hard is it to make a bigger window? Not hard at all.
It's not terribly hard, but we do comply. So is it complying within 1 square feet or within 10 square feet?
Right, but so again, here you have this little room with a low ceiling, which maybe you're gonna do a little something to make the ceiling not so oppressive. Why should they have the minimum window if this is gonna be a place where your client is paying you, who owns this apartment, to make this nice? What would you do? So that's what I'm going for. The superintendent is a people too, along with the superintendent's child. And so this needs to be nice. So I would say, let's pretend the super is paying you as an independent client. How do you make this nice? Okay, that's their instruction.
Understood.
Okay, good. Then the other thing, oh yeah, one of the things that was asked is one of the waivers is confusing. The waiver for the light and what is it for the window opening to yard dimensions 44 by 20. It's actually described in a different way. If I got that, now I have to find that section again. The multiple dwelling law gives you a dimension, but it also says or 2 times the depth of a yard. Why aren't you complying with 2 times the depth?
I don't have an answer for that off the top of my head. I'll have to look at that closer.
Okay, so that one, yeah, no, I can't find it. Please, no, except that in a basement. Okay, so yeah, so please verify that because I'm not sure you actually need a waiver on that one.
We'll review.
Okay,
We'll review. That's fine.
okay, anything else, commissioners? Any other questions?
We'll update the seeker form just to note the special permit. I think there were 2 checklists, so we'll just make sure it's consistent.
Okay.
Could I speak to the compelling My name's Craig Lamb. I am one of the principal owners of J&C Land Management.
Yes, go ahead.
We manage the property. I've managed the property since 1993. I actually hired the super. He was first hired as a doorman, and when the previous super retired, we put him on as a super, and he is unbelievable. When he was hired, he had got married, and he just had one small baby. Now he has two children, and what they do, and he was looking at, he'd like not to leave the building. We'd like him not to leave the building. So we came up with this plan, which has been taking longer than we could have imagined to do, which is just the way it goes. And what we'd like to have him, he's right now, he and his wife sleep on air mattresses in the living room at night. But he does not want to leave the building. And we'd rather, again, not have him leave. I find myself at times not understanding his willingness to do, and especially his wife willing to live this way. But they like the schools for the kids. We like them. They like us. If the board can look at this also on the basis that it's a hardship for him. I will also, though, say to Commissioner Perlmutter that it's a co-op, and some people did not want us to enter into this because they realized it would be costing quite a bit of money. And they just felt, well, he'll leave and we'll get a different super. The board presently doesn't feel that, but they have some pressure, and that goes to, if we have to do a skylight or we have to do something, but that goes to the additional cost of what we're doing. And at times in co-ops in New York City, it becomes a heavy lift. That's all I can say. But we're trying everything we can to try and keep this man and his family in the building.
Okay, got it. Just as a reminder, though, it's a co-op on East 79th Street.
Look at the average sale price. I have a co-op on East 79th Street where the average sale prices are $25 million. The average sale price is $700,000. So
you mean cheaper than the average sale price in Brooklyn?
No, it actually is. Yes. I own William B. May. We're brokers. Yes. There are certain areas in Brooklyn that are substantially more expensive than this building.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's not, everybody is thankful if they can live in New York City, in whatever borough, I believe.
Right.
I'm a native New Yorker. I've been here my entire life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Understood. Still, we want to make this nice. So we're going to make this nice. Okay.
Okay. We understand it.
Okay. So, and just so that you understand, this board hears other applications for seller apartments, and we have minimum standards. And if we lower our minimum standards, then it risks the health and safety of future applicants or residents of seller units. So we have to be careful on this. Okay.
Fully understood.
Okay. Thank you, though. Thank you for
Thank you.
testimony.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, so let's go to the public.
Okay, the application we are currently discussing, I'm still muted?
No.
Oh,
No.
I just saw it across the screen, sorry. 2019-257BZ and 2019-258A. This is 179 East 79th Street, Manhattan. The call-in number is 646-558-8656. The Zoom webinar ID number is 964-7409-0108. Passcode, should you require it, is 530374. And once you call in, it's *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. If you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand and press *9 to speak.
Okay, there are two people in the Zoom room whose names I don't recognize. If you'd like to speak on this East 79th Street case, then please raise your Zoom hand.
There for the next application.
The next, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So what was I going to say? Oh, yes. How much time do you need to come back with amended materials and a really, really nice extra room for the super and his kids and wife?
Mike, does?
Well, I think given what we discussed today, I think if you could give us a week to get everything together and have some discussions, do some more probes and investigations, I'd like to come back to you with something that's really been developed a little bit further and, that's going to be satisfactory to the board.
So you'll have more than a week. So how much time do you need to resubmit the drawings is really the question. Realistic time given, probes, analysis, maybe, I don't know if you have to speak to an engineer, blah, blah, blah.
I think a week is sufficient.
Really? Okay.
Craig, do you disagree?
Yeah, I would say 2 weeks minimally.
Okay.
I'd say 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because you need to do a turnaround. You need to show it to your client,
Right.
all that stuff. You can't, right. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Nobody's called in, so we don't have public testimony. Okay, so we'll let you know when the next hearing is based on the information you gave me about submission. Ms. Baton will let you know. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Also, there's an inspection, right, Tony?
I
No,
was letting you know that on the.
never mind. Okay.
Okay,
No, okay. Don't send me notices if you don't want me to say anything.
okay.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
responding to your request, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We're going to go on to the next one. Thank you for calling in.
Item number 33, 2019-275BZ, 122 West 27th Street, Manhattan.
I'm going to stick around for this one as well.
Okay. If you insist.
Okay, Jefferson and Matan. That should. I don't know if Barry's here, but we could get started. In the meantime, the architect and applicant are here.
Who's Matan Gavish?
He's the owner
Okay.
of the PCE.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board, and to respond honestly to the board member questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
All right, good afternoon, Fan Baton from Sheldon Lobel PC for the applicant. We attended this afternoon's review session and could respond to the comments. I'll start by talking more about the program. The 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. hours of operation 7 days a week are the proposed hours. It is a commercial building, so we would like those hours.
Okay.
Clarification regarding the therapy room. So the original proposal, obviously stuff has changed since COVID, and the owner, Matan, he would like to keep those as offices and not therapy rooms. So we will update the plans to reflect that as offices instead of therapy rooms.
Okay. In your cover letter, can you be clear about the hours of operation, because it wasn't clear, so we need that for council. Okay, thanks.
Make sure that's updated. I believe the outstanding violations are building related and not for the space. I could confirm, but a quick search from Biz was for the building rather than the specific tenant space.
Okay.
And then I think for the ADA access and the sound attenuation, I'll refer to Jefferson, the architect on the application.
Yeah, hi. So regarding the ADA access, everything on the ground floor is accessible. And I think indicated on the plans, all the doorways and turn radiuses and such, and all the services are available on the ground floor. There's a large exercise area on the ground floor as well as in the cellar. So the cellar is not accessible. That little elevator that you guys pointed out on the sort of east side of the space in the cellar does not actually serve that floor, with little steps going down to it. So that's what and it's not planned to. So that is basically closed and locked as a security measure, and not intended to be used at all. But everything is provided for on the ground floor.
Okay, so the concept is duplicate services, basically.
Correct, correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay.
And regarding sound attenuation, do note that I don't know, Jefferson, if you want to talk about the wall acoustic insulation, but there are wall-to-wall mats on the floors. Everywhere there's activity, there are mats. And regarding the hanging dummies, they are suspended off the ground, but they're on their own. I don't know, Matan, if you want to discuss that a little bit more, but they're not hanging from the ceiling, so it's not that vibration issue.
Yeah, sure. I can just touch to that as part of the vibration. So we have those, you call them mummies. Call them,
Dummies.
dummies, yeah, but you did refer to them as mummies in the original one. Got us laughing a little bit. But yeah, so usually when you have anything that's like a punching bag, it creates vibration when you connect it directly to a ceiling, because then the floor above it vibrates. So we got away from that by creating a separate holder for each dummy, and the dummy is suspended in the air with bungee cords. So all of the vibration basically is happening in the air in the middle of the room. There is absolutely no vibration at all, not on the downstairs, not on the upstairs.
Like bungee cords, okay.
Yep.
And I don't believe there were any noise.
What is that?
Oh, sorry.
What is that stand is connected to?
It's on the floor, so it vibrates through the floor, arguably, right?
No, because all of the, because all of the vibration is happening on the bungee cord. So, and it is the cellar, so it is,
Right.
you know, if you know, it might bother a couple of the rats living underneath the building, maybe the subway, but there is no vibration in the building. And if you go to the first floor, which is also ours, we don't feel anything, and we've never received any complaints.
Energy. Remember the story when you were, I don't know, in the 3rd grade, and the teacher was showing you how the ball rolls and it hits the other bowl and it transfers the energy to the other bowl, and then that keeps going and transfers like that. That's what's happening with your dummies. It's
So the dummy basically, right? So you put energy into the dummy, right?
Yeah.
And then the dummy basically get like thrown back and forth on the bungee cord, but everything else around it is secured. It is connected to the floor of the cellar.
okay.
So you don't really get, and then the entire floor is covered in thick 2-inch mats, which are the thickest for what we do. And yeah, so there's no dropping of any equipment. There is no heavy weights. This is something you see in CrossFit gym where they drop equipment, the whole building rattles.
Yes.
We don't have any of that.
Okay. Commissioner Sheta, did you want to add anything?
No, that's good. That's good. Thank you.
Okay.
And I don't believe there have been noise complaints either.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Did we leave anything out?
Jolene, did you find out about the DOI?
Yeah, DOI has been received and there's no closing memorandum. It's approved and it's in the SharePoint now.
Can you forward me a copy of the closing memo?
Yeah.
I can't. Okay. And fire department, I don't know that we got anything. Did we?
I mentioned it earlier. We did.
Yeah.
We did. Oh, okay. Sorry. Have the LNO. Okay. Violations. Okay, so let's go to the public while we try to get that closing memo.
Okay, the case that we are currently discussing is 2019-275BZ, 122 West 27th Street, Manhattan. The call-in number is 646-558-8656. Zoom webinar ID number is 964-7409-0108. And the passcode, should you require it, is 530374. Press star 9 to raise your hand and star 6 to unmute to speak. And if you are in the Zoom room already, raise your Zoom hand or press star 9.
So I did see the closing memo. So, okay, so we're good. So let's just see if anyone called in. So far, there's nobody in the waiting room. Did we need to, let's see. So you're just going to make a couple of modifications to the submission, right? It's nothing much though, right?
Right, we just have to update the therapy rooms to offices, and then confirm the hours of operation. So if we can close today, we would like that.
Yes, we're going to close. I'm trying to get as many things voted on as quickly as possible. So you think you'd be able to turn this around by Wednesday?
I can. Jefferson, can you just update the therapy rooms to offices by Wednesday?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, you're talking about tomorrow or next Wednesday?
No, next Wednesday.
Oh. Yes.
I mean, if you can submit it earlier, great, but I'm trying to give you a week.
Jefferson, confirmed?
Yes, that's no problem.
Okay, perfect. We could do that.
Okay. All
So
right.
if you're changing plans, remember, please, a bubble set and an original set, a clean set.
Will do.
Okay. All right then. So nobody called in, so I'd like to make a motion to close.
Chair Perlmutter?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Nisheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta?
Aye.
Okay, application is closed.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 34, 2020, 43BZ, 982 39th Street, Brooklyn.
Okay, we have Chris Wright.
Hello,
So,
how you doing?
Okay. Anyone else with you, Mr. Wright?
Hello. Do you want me to be sworn in, Tony?
no,
Is there anyone else with you?
are you
No, it's just me today.
not expecting
It's
anyone?
you? Okay, you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and please respond honestly to board member questions.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Okay, I heard your review session. Thank you very much for some of the kind words about the applicant doing what she can with the property. Just some clarification, there's only one C of O from 1965. I'm sorry, there's some confusion about that. With respect to DEP, we received 2 letters. They've been sent to Kevin Williams, who you well know, and he will have a response prepared for the next hearing, whenever that is. He doesn't think there's an issue there, but he will go through that. I heard your comments about the uniqueness and the facts and findings. I agree. I think Ian did a fantastic job with the uniqueness, and I'll revise the facts and findings to incorporate more clearly his uniqueness argument, so it's clear. So I will do that. With respect to the elevator and structural work, the architect will get back to you as why the elevator there and whether or not the floors can handle the structural integrity of the floors. And then Barbara Cohen, I believe she was listening to the review session. She's en route right now, and she heard Commissioner Brown's comments, and she will get back to you on those as well. And so if there are any further questions for me, please let me know.
So what I would like you to do, because you summarized, but you didn't quite catch the nuances of the pretty long discussion. So I would like you to listen to the review session very carefully. You can even get a transcript so you don't have to take notes, right? The transcript is automatic happily through YouTube, right? And I'd like you to make sure every single statement that's made by the commissioners is responded to, where your cover letter has that question as a heading, and then you respond, you say underneath that question how you're responding to it, okay? Because the summary was very brief. I'm a little surprised not to see the architect here and Ms. Cohen here. So people who are responsible for the work need to be sure that they've got it, right? Otherwise, it'll be needlessly more hearings, and which we could have avoided, okay?
No, I listened to the hearing. I took a lot of detailed notes. I always go through it again, and I will make sure I addressed all the questions. And Ms. Cohen and the architect will respond to the questions for them. I assure you.
Okay. Assure me by actually doing it. Don't just assure me, okay?
I will. I don't want any more hearings here. The applicant would like to move this forward and legalize your building.
Right, okay. Okay, all right then, so let's go to the public, unless other commissioners have something they feel like needed to have been underscored. Okay. All right.
okay, the application we are currently discussing is 2020 43BZ, 982 39th Street, Brooklyn. The call-in number is 646-558-8656. The Zoom webinar ID number is 964-7409-0108. Passcode, should you require it, is 530374. Press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute once you're in. If you are in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand and press *9 to speak.
Okay. So while we're waiting to see if anyone will call in on this application, I just want to make sure that you understand the claim that it was built as a residential building is not supported by anything. So you need to, so your search in the Sanborn map world didn't yield any useful results. So I found an iCard for one adjacent building. I wasn't able to find others. You might find them by reaching out to HPD directly. And then also Department of Finance may have really, Commissioner Otley Brown, do you know how you research old tax records?
Old property tax records?
Yeah, to see, you know, they used to talk about how many mirrors you had in the house and that kind of thing. Like if you wanted to go back to the sort of early 20th century, is there a way to, or mid 20th century? Is
They
there?
had these property ID cards that came out in the 30s. And maybe they had another go round of that at the turn of the century. I'm not sure, but those are probably in archives right now. So you would probably have to contact the property division itself and see if there's a way for you to get a copy of those. But I don't know of anything before 1930. There are internal documents called field books, but those were archived long time ago, probably around early 1990, and those had note-taking history of properties year by year. As the assessor entered the values, it would basically say what was on that property that they were valuing and how they were increasing the assessed value. But I would say the property cards of the 1930s are the earliest that I know of.
So the
1930s,
they started in 1930s and they continued for a while, or? Oh, you're muted again. You're muted.
It was kind of like one of those snapshot in time. There would be these little snapshots of the property, like a facing front snapshot that said what was there and notes about it, like the lot size, the building size, and the classification. And it wasn't kept up forever. It was partially kept up. Then again, in 1986, the Department of Finance undertook a complete video canvassing of all of the properties in New York City. And then they committed those to laser video discs, which I don't even know if the technology even exists anymore, but laser video discs. And that was like another like citywide canvassing of what was there. And other than that, I don't know of anything else, to be honest.
well, I'll speak to Ian, and I think he's pretty resourceful. He did a lot of the work on the uniqueness. We did this, and see, I'm sure we can come up with a way to verify it.
Okay. And the other, well, so you should be listening to this because you have somebody who's an expert on what the Department of Finance did, and Ian may not know.
I am. I listen to him. I understand Brown is wealth of information, Commissioner Brown.
The other place is the archives at the New York Public Library. They have really an amazing trove of information about buildings. And so that's another potential source. But that's to establish, I mean, so you're saying the building is obsolete at the moment because it was built for residential use, right? If it's not true, then you need to shift that argument. The building is obsolete because it has nothing to do with being built for residential use. It has these dimensions and so on. And that's obsolete for the argument that you make, okay?
Okay, I understand.
Understood? Okay. All right. So then nobody called in. How much time to submit? We also have open DEP, of course, so.
Yeah, I mean, the DEP takes some time, as you know, and so Kevin, I mean, I think Kevin will need some time to get that in and have them review it. I'm eager to move this forward, but I think I need to give Kevin some time to, the other issues I can respond to fairly quickly. I haven't got the verification of residential yet. I'll have to do that with Ian. So I probably need a little bit of time to do, what Kevin needs, a month or two.
So 8 weeks, 8 weeks?
Sure, that's fine.
All right. All right, then. I'm making a note of 8 weeks and we'll let you know what hearing date that means. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for, and again, I appreciate the commissioner's, comments about the applicant trying to stay within reason of the request. And I appreciate that. And I will relay that to her as well.
Okay. So your client should participate in the hearings. She has a vested interest. Keep your
She's watching on YouTube.
Okay, don't keep your clients out of these things. Have them participate fully, okay?
Okay, I will. I'll bring the whole team to the next hearing, I promise.
Please, always bring your team, much more efficient. Okay,
Okay,
all right, thank you.
thank you. Are we done?
We're done.
Thank you very much, everybody. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, it's the last case. So this concludes the public hearing for May 25th, 2021, 2 p.m. session. We're done.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of afternoon.
Yep, we're out.